Hello everyone, welcome again in my kitchen. Today I want to show you a recipe that's really simple to make. It's healthy, nourishing, it's cheap to cook, and once it's done, you can freeze it. There's absolutely no problem whatsoever. It's a recipe that's still really popular here in North America, but particularly here in Quebec, it's been really useful to our great-great-great-granddads 200 years back in the past when they would go cut some trees into the forest to survive. It's one of the simplest recipes you will ever know, and I've named Cooking baked beans is a long process. It takes a few hours. Personally, I always try to start my batch early in the morning or at night before I go to bed. I start with an empty bowl and my bag of beans. I always try to buy navy beans. Personally, I think it's the kind of bean that goes the best with that recipe and gives me the best results. So, I open up the bag and put every beans in my empty bowl. I then place my bowl inside the sink and I fill it up with water. While it fills, I can remove all the broken beans, the ones that are discolored, or if I find any rocks, I remove them, of course. When my bowl is filled with water, I mix everything up. Like that, I'm removing all the dirt from the beans. After that, I get rid of that water and I fill it up again. I do that process as long as my water gets dirty. Once it stays clear, we're done. I then fill my bowl one last time with some water to make sure all the beans get rehydrated. I make sure my beans stay seated in that water for about 12 hours. In the meantime, you can do other stuff. The first step is quite simple, you'll see. We're gonna have to rinse our beans with a colander. Once it's done, you're gonna put the beans into a pot. You're gonna submerge them with water. Put an inch more of water than your beans level, and then we're gonna put it on the oven. We'll start the oven at maximum temperature, and once it starts to boil, we're gonna leave it there for 20 minutes. While we're waiting for the beans to finish boiling, I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna need for that recipe. We're gonna need some onions, about 2 to 3 depending on the size of the onion you have. I'm gonna need 1/4 of a pound of lard and bacon. My lard has absolutely no meat on it. I'm gonna add up some bacon to give some meat to my beans. I'm gonna need some dry mustard, about 5 tablespoons worth of it. I'm gonna need some brown sugar, about 3 teaspoons of brown sugar. Some table salt, only 1 tablespoon. 1 teaspoon, sorry, 1 teaspoon of table salt. You're gonna need some pepper to your liking. I'm gonna need some molasses, about I'd say 3/4 of a cup of molasses. I'm gonna need some pure apple cider vinegar. We're gonna use 2 teaspoons worth of cider vinegar. And personally, I always like to add 2 ingredients. One is liquid smoke, a few drops will do nicely, and about 1/4 of a cup of tomato ketchup. You're gonna see it adds up a really nice flavor to those beans. Okay, so our beans just finished boiling. They've boiled for about more than 20 minutes actually. So now I'm going to tell you what we're going to need to do. You're going to need a rotisserie. We're going to use that to bake our beans in the oven. We're going to take half the portion of lard that we've cut while the beans were boiling. we're gonna put that at the bottom of our rotisserie. After that, half the quantity of onions, we're gonna use that as well. Half the dry ingredients on top of the onions. After that, we're gonna take only the beans, not the water that we're gonna keep until the end. We're gonna take half the portion of beans, we're gonna put that on top. After that, we're doing the same for the rest of the ingredients. We're gonna take the rest of the lard and bacon, put it on top of the beans, onions, dry ingredients, that's a mustard, salt, pepper, stuff like that. And then, only then, we're gonna take what's left of the beans and the cooking water. Now that we're done adding up the beans and the cooking water to the rotisserie, we're gonna add up the molasses, the ketchup, the pepper, and the apple cider vinegar. Let's do that. For the liquid smoke, only a few drops will do. I'm just rinsing the cup to make sure that I have every bit of that molasses into my recipe. I'm doing it with hot water, of course. There you go. As you can see, the beans are totally submerged into water in my cooking rotisserie. There you go, the recipe is over. All the ingredients have been added up. Now the only thing that's left to do is to cover our rotisserie and put it into the oven for 7 straight hours at 200 degrees Fahrenheit, like I said earlier. After the 7th hours of cooking, we're gonna add another hour of cooking, but without the top. Like that, the beans will have a nice brown, darker color. You're gonna see later. Okay, so our beans have been cooking for the last 7 hours. It's 10:15 right now, 10 p.m. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna remove the rotisserie from the oven, open up the top. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. If we're missing some water in it, we're gonna add some. The thing is, we don't want it to be too dry, it needs a little bit of sauce. So I'll show you what I mean. I did it once, by the way, around 2 hours ago. I added a little bit of water because it was too dry. So anyway, I'll show you what it should look like. And the only other thing is that after we're done checking them out, we're gonna put them back into the oven for another hour, an hour and a half, just to make sure that they have that nice golden brownish color. It smells nice. Oh, wait. So I'm really happy with what I'm seeing right now. Looks really good, smells amazing, by the way. You've got big pieces of lard here. You've got some bacon lying around, like right there. There's enough liquid. That's what I want my final result to be like. So I'm gonna add up just a little bit of water because we're gonna put that back in the oven without the top, and we're gonna lose some more liquid during that time. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of water, but first I'm gonna taste it. I wanna see what it tastes like. Okay, I've got a spoon. Let's try that. That's really something. I like it so much, I won't add anything except a little bit of water, like I said earlier. And after that, I'm gonna put it into the oven. I just added up about 3/4 of a cup of water. I'm mixing it up and then I'm putting it back into the oven. Okay, so it's 15 minutes past midnight. Our beans have been cooking for about an hour 45 without the top of the rotisserie. So let's get it out of the oven and let's see what they look like. Okay, so I'm really pleased with the look of those beans. First of all, nothing stuck at the bottom of my rotissary, so I'm really pleased with that. I like the smell, the color looks amazing, and another thing that I'm really proud of, the sauce. It's not too liquid, it's kind of thick, and that's really something I enjoy with beans. So right now what I'm about to do is bring the camera here, and I'm gonna show you a close-up of those beans. Okay, so there you go. You can see here a nice big piece of lard, and here you've got some bacon, pieces of bacon. Let me get one for you. There you go, right there. You can see a piece of bacon. So I'm really pleased with what they look like. So homemade beans with lard and bacon, it's hard to beat. That recipe is amazing. Something I really enjoy about beans is that you can have them at any time of the day. You can have them for breakfast with your eggs and toast, and you can have them for lunch or supper with a nice slice of bread, buttered up, little pieces of sausages and your beans, and you have an amazing meal, seriously. I hope you enjoyed my movie. I hope it gives you the will to try my recipe. And if you do, please leave me some comments. I always enjoy knowing what you think about my recipes. And another thing, subscribe to my channel, Michu Pichu 007. There's already many recipes online, and there's many more to come in the near future. Thank you, see you next time.